Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel, and today I'm going to be doing a review of Heartless by Marissa Meyer. Now, I had high expectations for this novel. I love Marissa Meyer, I love the Lunar Chronicles so much, and I love the premise, you know, the Queen of Hearts before she became the Queen of Hearts. Unfortunately, it did not live up to my expectations. Now, I've seen a lot of people who love this book. I'm on Book Talk, I've seen the love it has. It just did not work for me. So I'm going to read you the synopsis and then get into my pros and cons. Long before she was the terror of Wonderland, the infamous Queen of Hearts, she was just a girl who wanted to fall in love. Catherine may be one of the most desired girls in Wonderland and a favourite of the unmarried king, but her interests lie elsewhere. A talented baker, she wants to open a shop and create delectable pastries. At a royal ball where Catherine is expected to receive the king's marriage proposal, she meets a handsome and mysterious Jest. At the risk of offending the king and infuriating her parents, she and Jest enter into a secret courtship. Catherine is determined to choose her own destiny, but in a land thriving with magic, madness, and monsters, fate has other plans. Now into my pros. I did have some, never fear. The Cheshire Cat. I loved him. He was my favourite character of this whole novel, and I stand by that. I have a thing for cat companions that can talk and are sassy, apparently. He made the novel brighter every time he showed up, just mwah. Jest was a likeable love interest. I didn't hate him, he was pretty cool. He was like charismatic, he was charming, he was kind, he was different like from other ones, because he's like a jester. Everyone's like, ooh. Usually the love is just like, ooh, this big knight. Well, I mean, technically he is a knight, but still. Everyone else is like, oh, they're these big like knight, or this guard, and it's big and buff, but Jest is like, Hatter absolutely despised Kath, and I stand with him on that, because she was a bitch, and I liked Hatter. She was a dick. She put the blame on everyone else. Now, spoilers, here, you know the drill, here, just skip to avoid them. The last, like, say, 50 pages of this novel were the strongest. It was, like, the only thing that gave the second star in this book for me was the last 50 pages of this novel. After Jess died, and the way Kath turned out was the only time I liked her. When she faced her parents, and they asked, like, are you sure this is what you really want? And she responded, if only you thought to ask me that before. Mwah! I stand by that line. I loved it so much when I read it. I stand by Kath after Jess dies. It's only when she gets interesting and likeable. And when she got a backbone and actually spoke back to the king. Incredible. Oh, and the beheading with Raven. Mwah. Fuck him up. Fuck him up. I stand by it. I loved it. Okay. Into my cons. There's a few. Kath was the most annoying, indecisive, and self-pitying character I have ever read about. Holy shit, all she did the entire novel was whine. She just going on like, oh, I love Jess so much, and I love baking, but I can't do those things to the king. If you'd ever stood up to the king and had a backbone, it made it seem like the stakes were so much higher. Like, oh, she couldn't be with them because her parents and the king want to marry her. She didn't give a shit about the king and her parents. Like, she could have... She just could have stood up to the king. That's all I'm saying. Say no to the king. I don't care what your parents think, because if you say no to him, there's no going back to that. And I don't even understand why he likes her anyway. She's a dick. No one else, she's like, oh, she's the most desired character in all of Hearts. No, she's fucking not. Half the people hate her, and even the ones that do like her, why? She's the worst! And she could have been honest with the king and with Jess. She never was, because she's the worst. And most of her external complications, because you know how in a novel we meant to have external and internal most of the time. Most of the external ones were just internal because she was a dick and stupid. Yeah, okay, I'm done. Marissa Meyer had so much to work with the world building. Lewis Carroll's Wonderland. There is so much you could do with that, so much to build on top of it. But she dropped the ball. I expected more world building. Like, there was bits and pieces that were like, oh, I love this world. But it could have been done so much better. She could have built on Lewis Carroll's world. She could have made Hearts different, added new things, but she didn't. She dropped the ball on it. I absolutely hate calling things predictable. I've said before, I don't think it is art's job to be unpredictable. I think it should be about, you know, the journey per se, not the end, and how you get there and how it makes you feel. It doesn't matter if it's predictable or not. But holy fuck, was this predictable! Oh my god. Like, I knew from the start, as soon as she was like, oh, I'll get the money for baking, that it was never going to happen. You obviously knew it never was going to happen, but not even in the grand scheme of things, when you're like, oh, she's going to become the Queen of Hearts. Even that, like, you could tell at every single, every single complication that arose, you knew how it was going to end. It was boring. If you knew the whole thing, every single complication, you knew this is going to go bad, this is what's going to happen. It gets boring. Mary Ann was also an incredibly annoying character. At the start, she was like, oh, Kath, you don't really want to start this bakery. Like, it was just a pipe dream for us. But at the end, when Kath wants to run away and do things, Mary Ann's like, but what about our bakery? Shut up, you didn't care about it. You didn't believe in it. What? Oh, and the fact that is this a spoiler? If you've read it, you know what I mean. She's the reason. Not worth it. The king and her parents had no depth. Their only place in the novel was to push Kath further away from her goals. What did the king want besides Kath? Nothing! He was just like, he was just there so that someone else would have Kath's affection, just a reason she couldn't be with Jess. Like, what other reason? Like, they said he was stupid, so it can't be that he wanted the political alliance. Was it because he wanted cakes? Was it because she was pretty? Is it just because she was pretty? If you're a king, there's going to be more to it. I mean, Henry VIII disagrees, but this is a work of fiction, so I think you should have more motives other than, aha, Kath girl pretty, and we'll marry her, and we didn't know for an answer. Well, you didn't have to take no for an answer, because she never said no. Couldn't expect him to take a hint, because clearly kings don't know how to take hints. And also her parents. Their only characters, their only motivation was, our daughter needs to marry the king. These are real living people that are the parents of this child. They're gonna want more than their daughter to marry the king. They have other things in mind, right? Right? Like, even if you care a lot about, like, the royal standing and stuff, there's gonna be a difference. Yeah, even if you care that much about royal standing, you're gonna have other motivations in place. Like, obviously, they literally just want to marry the king. Any other things you do with your time? Do you have hobbies? Do you have a past? Evidently not. You just want to get in Kath's way. Kath, this is once again talking about Kath. Having zero self-awareness and blaming everyone else for their problems. I'm all for flawed characters. Nothing makes me happier than morally grey flawed characters. But fuck her. I already hate her. So it wasn't even a flaw. It read like she was in the right, blaming Hannah and blaming everyone else for her issues. This is all your fault, dude. Grow a backbone, go fuck yourself. I'm saying fuck a lot in this video. I do not like Kath. Anyway, overall, obviously, I did not like this book. I gave it 2 out of 5 stars, which is a far cry from the 5 out of 5 I see everywhere on Book Talk, but I did not like it at all. I was incredibly disappointed in it. I know Marissa Meyer can do some... Was this written before or after the Lunar Chronicles? So you're telling me that after the beauty that was the Lunar Chronicles, you went and wrote that, and then afterwards you went to write Renegades, which I've heard so many good things about. Okay. Anyway, thank you all so much for watching. Check out some of my other reviews. I do quite a few of them. I have so many thoughts and opinions on books. The socials are down in the caption for you to follow, and let me know if there's anything else you want me to do, any other books you want me to review, or any other content you want me to make. Bye!